Like, my mouths are moving and words are in my head. I feel like I'm speaking, but the voice, it would not cooperate. So I'm talking, but nobody can hear what I'm saying. As you can see from the video title, today I just want to talk about how it is like living with selective mutism as an undiagnosed autistic person. One of the main struggles that I've had in my life ever since I was a kid was talking and communicating. That is the one area of my life that I've always lacked in. I even went to therapy to improve my communication skills. And the therapist that I work with, I went to cognitive behavioral therapy, by the way. She and I, we would just sit together, just talk about how I can improve my talking skills. So when I was in school, and anytime somebody would try to come up to me and talk to me, there were always going to be this awkward silence. And oh my God, how I dreaded that awkward silence, that little break in between saying things, and that little break, it just makes you cringe so hard because your brain is just scrambling for words to just use to fill in that awkward silence, and you're just open like a million tabs in your head trying to figure out what you should say in order to fix the awkwardness, but you're scrambling for ideas for anything to say, and you end up saying the most awkward, weird thing ever. And even then, like, you're just scanning your brain for something to say, and then there's this voice in your head that's telling you, oh, you shouldn't say that because they might think this about you, or oh, you shouldn't talk about your interests because they're a bit weird, or you shouldn't say this or that. And by the time you do come up with something halfway decent to say, the awkward silence have been gone on for far too long, and now you've lost your train of thought, and the person that you were talking to is already bored, and they just find a random excuse to just exit out of the conversation, and you're just sitting there thinking like, oh my God, why can't I just talk like a normal person? I think that just made my mutism even worse. And it's not just psychological and emotional, even physically. Like, anytime I would try to talk, the muscles around my neck and my jaw would just start clenching. Like, you know how when you have like a long intensive workout and your muscles just feel sore after you're done exercising? Yeah, that's how it will feel when I try to talk. But the thing is, I did zero vocal exercise. Like, I did not use my muscles around my neck or my jaw at all. So why are they already feeling sore? But it would be like, hey, you know how you feel after you've talked for like 2-3 hours and your muscles, your vocal cords and your neck, you're pretty sore because of that. I would feel that way even though I barely said anything. I haven't even like started talking yet, and I already feel like I've said like a million sentences, and I already feel exhausted. And then because of that, I would just stop talking too much because it would just take too much effort, and it was just easier to stay quiet. But the thing is, emotionally and psychologically, it completely ruined me because there are so many things that I wish I could say, that I could easily express. I just wanted to just say, be able to talk about my interests and my emotions and feel heard and understood, but that never happened because of selective mutism. Because it's very hard to explain how it feels when you're selective mutism. It's really hard to explain because you do want to talk, you also know exactly what you want to say, but those words are just staying in your head, and no matter how many times you try to articulate yourself, you just can't. I remember this one time I was sitting in a room full of people and everybody was just chiming in, talking about stuff, and I wanted so bad to join in that conversation, and the words, they were just on the tip of my tongue. Like, I was like, I'm just going to utter these words out, but just as I was beginning to speak, my throat muscles or whatever, or muscles at the back of my neck, they just started feeling very tense. And I started having cold sweats, and my voice started to shake a little, and I was visibly looking very, very anxious. and like I'm having a silent panic attack. I'm hyperventilating. All I wanted to say was, hey, this is what I think about this topic. And I was literally behaving like I was being attacked by some kind of animal out in the wild. That was the level of my anxiety. Like I was facing some real life danger. I was in fight or flight response. Like I was literally in survival mode right then and there. And that moment just lives rent free in my head. I can never forget that moment. Literally, I just started crying because of anxiety. Not there. I found some excuse to just exit out of that place, and I went to the bathroom and I just cried so much because these are things that people don't even think twice about. This isn't even an afterthought for somebody like who's neurotypical, like for example my friends or my sister. Like they don't even have to think about something like this, and I'm over here struggling to basically just say 2 words. Like it's so difficult to even express myself. Forget about being articulate and not rambling or anything like that. I can't, like, even though I have the exact word, like I rehearse things that I'm going to say like a million times in my head before I even say it out loud. So I know exactly what is it that I need to say, the exact vocabulary, the words, the flow. Like the script is ready in my head, but my mouth is not cooperating. Like I'm giving command to my brain. Like I'm giving my brain the message, like this is the command that you need to execute, and my brain is like, no, we ain't doing that. So the neurons are giving the signal to my brain that, oh, this is what we need to do. But the neurons from my brain to my mouth, like somewhere along that journey, the messaging is just lost. I don't know how else to describe it because I know exactly what I need to say. The words are on the tip of my tongue. I'm just literally about to blurt it out, but at that very last minute, my voice starts crumbling, starts shaking. I remember there were so many moments especially when I was in high school, where I wanted to say something, and in my head I am saying the words because my mouth is moving. So I'm literally like, let me just give you like a demonstration. I'm like my mouths are moving and words are in my head. I feel like I'm speaking, but the voice, it would not cooperate. So I'm talking, but nobody can hear what I'm saying. I can hear what I'm saying because I'm too much in my head anyway, so I know exactly what I need to be saying, but nobody else around me can hear me because even though I'm speaking, only my lips are moving and I'm whispering and I'm trying to push my voice out, and my voice is just like stuck in my throat. It won't push out. And that is the struggle that I had to face for like so many years, all throughout my life. Even now, just talking, it takes too much effort. And I recently came across this phenomenon of shallow breathing versus deep breathing. So I don't know how exactly it works, but from what I understand, shallow breathing is when you breathe a lot faster and you're not like taking the air into your lungs, into your diaphragm basically. Like you're just breathing through your chest. So that's chest breathing. And you're not using abdomen to breathe. And because of shallow breathing, you're constantly mentally, you're constantly in a fight or flight response. You're in danger constantly. Even when you're alone, even when you're in a safe space, you feel like you're always in danger. You're always feeling like you're in a fight or flight response. And because of that, it literally changes the way you breathe in oxygen, and it causes you to start using your chest to breathe instead of abdomen. And because of that, it can literally cause tension in your throat and in your back muscles and even like around your jaw area, which causes difficulty in speaking. I didn't even know this. I'm 26 years old right now and I'm just figuring this out. Basically, I'm trying to unlearn how I've been breathing throughout my life. I'm trying to figure out how I can use my abdomen to breathe more deeply, and because it literally relaxes your body. And for me, my selective mutism stems a lot from just having very, very bad anxiety. which is common with autism. It's a comorbidity with autism, having anxiety. In fact, before I got my autism diagnosis, the very first diagnosis that I got was having a social anxiety disorder. That is the very first diagnosis that I got, and it was because of having selective mutism. Of course, at that time, I didn't know what I was experiencing with selective mutism. I didn't have the words, the vocabulary, or the terminology, and that also made it so hard for me to talk to my therapist about it, because I didn't have the language to properly articulate myself what I was going through, and that made fixing this problem even harder. Even now I have this problem, but I'm hoping that I can talk about this more in this video, and just my experience with living with selective mutism and how it has completely destroyed my social life. I hope that somebody out there can resonate with me, and that would mean a lot to me. And I will see you in the next video.